Morning, everyone. So Spirit gave me some insights today that I think you're going to find helpful, um, related to kind of self-love and the flow of abundance and how those two are connected, um, and how I think our culture has contributed to a superficial testament of self-love, but a complete abandonment of actual self-love. And I think it's made our current culture very sick, in terms of people being nasty to one another and endless conflict and us versus them. I really think, again, it all comes down to this feeling of separation. And I think there's a really practical way to reconcile some of that through the practice of self-love. And I kind of want to talk about what that really means, self-love. I think our world is kind of onto it, that we need to heal that. But it's in a practice of the 3D, which is fine. But I think without the acknowledgement and the understanding of our true oneness, the self-love actions in the 3D don't really sink deeper into this reconciliation back to lack of separation, this reconciliation back to oneness, right? And I think the stifling of self-love really cuts off abundance in all areas of life, right? Again, it's just separation. And it's not an actual separation, it's just a belief of separation, which is really great. So once you can kind of understand, oh, that's just a belief, it begins to unwind itself without you even trying, right? And there's a practice I want to give to you that I think is going to be really powerful to kind of turn on abundance in your life in ways maybe you don't even realize could happen. You don't even have to try to manifest. It's just this practice of self-love that automatically will heal parts of your life. It's really cool. So what do I mean by this? I've had some sessions with folks recently, and of course, at the heart of all of issues is a belief of separation. But I really specifically have had people that were completely abandoning themselves from a love standpoint. But they were incredibly loving in their life. So, selfishness. We've talked about this before, right? Capital S. Knowing who the self is. But then allowing that true nature to fall in love with your body mind. And all of the things it does, and all of the things it does well and not so well, and all of its likes and dislikes and quirks. So kind of what I want to suggest to everybody today is, and what Spirit revealed to me, how can we look for blessings in the 3D when we have such an abhorrence to our body mind? We are embodying a hatred of our body mind and looking to the 3D to somehow reconcile that to us. And it's really backward, right? And so I think we have a intellectual knowledge of that, but how do we go about, taking it from here to here, right? Mind to soul. So there's a practical application in the 3D that I want you to think about. And then there's a meditation that I think is going to be really helpful. So think about somebody in your life that is the most important person to you, or a group of people that are the most important person. And let's say that you're hosting them in your home. How is it that you treat them? You treat them with honor and you regard them. And any want or desire they have is your wish is my command, right? How can I love you and make you comfortable? I want to just shower you with love. And what do? We deny ourselves, and we don't put ourselves first in those situations sometimes. And that's okay, because we're serving, right? But I want you to flip that, and I want you to take that attitude of treating that number one person as your body mind. So if you wouldn't deprive your number one person of rest, if you wouldn't deprive your number one person of their hobbies and time to themselves and things that provide them with rest and enjoyment and rejuvenation, would you deny your kids of those things? Would you deny your spouse? Would you deny your mom and dad? Okay. So why would then you deny yourself? We deny ourselves because really it's coming from a place of lack. I put them first because there's not enough. And maybe there's another motive, right? I'm not suggesting that that's always the reason. You do want to genuinely honor them. But I want to kind of expand your mind to think both can have all of the things. Abundance can be given to you and to them in that moment. There's enough to go around. You don't have to deny yourself. You don't have to give up what you want. You don't have to compromise your time. You don't have to compromise anything. I want you to take the love that you're showering on your family, your loved ones, your friends, your work, and I want you to turn it right back around. And I want you to put yourself first, always. Maybe triggering for some people. But I think it's triggering because we think that if we put ourselves first, maybe somebody else won't get any. That's a lack mindset. If you put yourself first, because self is the only thing that there is, everything in the 3D is mirroring back to you what you are, right? So if you're denying yourself, only focused outward on, let me work myself to the bone for anything, anyone, any cause outside of me, because you're really searching for something outside of you to love you back. The job, the anything external, right? It's not there. So when you water yourself first, that abundance flows from you to the other people. And in fact, you will be more giving. You will be more loving. You will have more bandwidth. The people around you will feel more fulfilled because they're just reflecting back to you what you are. Right? So if you're exhausted, if you're depleted, if you're feeling cut off from flow in your life, where are you not loving yourself as body mind? We can love that spirit that we are, right? But also provide such a comfortable life and a pleasant, joyful, easy life for your body mind. I think in our Western culture, there's this idea that there's honor in, self-sacrifice for others. And I get the motive behind that, but it is coming from a lack standpoint. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for other people to also have all the things. So, put yourself first. Practically, how are you handling yourself first? And you're going to really start to see abundance flow into your life. If you're finding a lack of abundance in any area, where are you not absolutely putting yourself first and over the moon in love with yourself? And just ask Spirit to identify that to you, right? So, a few exercises that I want to give to you that you may find helpful. And again, I just encourage you to explore this in your spirit. One, I want you to write a letter. Chris said this the other night on the Social Goats podcast, and I had done this a couple months ago, and I thought that was awesome. So I want to highlight it to you guys too. Write a letter to yourself about all the things you appreciate about yourself. And not only all the things you appreciate about the things you do and what you are, but also like, good job for getting through all those hard moments. That was really tough for a while. And you did your best, right? And even if there were times you didn't do your best, you were just doing what you could as a body-mind, right? Write a letter to yourself, acknowledging all the pains and things you've been through and for navigating and weathering that storm. Honor that. Write a letter to yourself and just shower yourself with love about all the amazing things you are. Are you funny? Are you really smart? Are you both? Are you, the life of the party? Are you the one people come to for advice? Are you the quiet one that, has it all figured out and you've got profound things to say at the right moment, right? Spend time absolutely falling head over heels in love with your body-mind. Again, I think as a culture, we've put honor in downgrading ourselves, and that causes us to be sick and seek oneness in ways that are kind of insidious by causing an us-them approach to anything. Politics, religion, at the grocery store, the cart next to you, it's this, because we have so rejected ourselves, because we think that's the right thing to do. We think that makes us better. We think that causes us to try harder. It doesn't. It makes you exhausted, and it cuts off flow in your life. So absolutely fall in love with yourself. And then the sense of separation kind of just melts away. And areas of your life are healed. And you feel more abundant toward everybody. You feel more giving toward everybody. You will have bandwidth to love everybody in your life 10 times more, or pick an exponent, than you do now, because it's flowing from you. It's flowing from you in pure love versus you pushing on the 3D to have the 3D reflect back to you that you are one. It's backwards. Love yourself. Love your body, mind. Are you pushing yourself too hard? I don't want people to get bent up about diet, but I want you to just love your body, mind, and maybe you'll make choices that are great for yourself, right? I'm not suggesting that means you eat celery all day. What I am suggesting, though, is that maybe it does mean you have the cupcake. Maybe it means also the next day you have a salad. It just means you're free and you're making decisions that love yourself. I think a lot of times when we hate our bodies, we seek things like alcohol, drugs, and food that maybe isn't the best for your body. It's like an addictive grasping toward it because you need to feel that oneness for a minute. And then you are hard on yourself because you've done that. And then you try to seek that oneness, and then it's just compulsion, right? Fall in love with yourself for who you are. And forget about all the details for a moment. Forget about all the effort. And just take time today to notice where you're a goofball, where you're a knucklehead, and love yourself for it. Take time to notice, like, I'm really freaking good at that. And I love that about myself. My nose is crooked. I love that about myself. I can smell. Allow this love to be first for you, because there's exponentially more than enough for everyone. And when we approach it by cutting ourselves off, by a rejecting of ourselves, by a sacrificing for others, there's no need for that. Sacrificing yourself for the job, workaholism, I used to have that because I desperately wanted it to reflect back to me that I was good, that I was smart, that I could be successful, that I was not separate. So I would self-abandon in every turn to feel one with this job. And it didn't lead to fulfillment. You know, not to get all dramatic, and I don't want to tell the whole story, but it didn't lead to fulfillment. Why? Because I was not loving myself. There was no possible way I could find that fulfillment outside of me because I was abandoning myself and hating myself to try to get that from outside of me. We all have examples of that. Where are you doing that in your life? Where you're doing it in your life are the areas where you're stifled, right? So where are you not experiencing flow? Anywhere. Practice self-love and it'll just heal you. Meaning, I am this precious spirit that is expressing through this precious body-mind in the one unique way that will be for all eternity. And just fall in love with that magic. And even if you're like, wow, body-mind doesn't have many talents, it's because you're stifled. Body-mind has lots of talents. Because why? Spirit is powering body-mind. So tune into that. This unique combination of the spirit that we all are with the body-mind you are right now is a beautiful flame inside of you. And there's no measuring stick, right? Be that uniqueness. Fall in love with it and the fallibility that it is. And I want to recommend to you that that is going to cause you to experience flow in areas you never thought imaginable. Beyond what you can think or imagine. That's what that means. So, I hope that's helpful. That was what Spirit revealed to me today. Boy, I ramble here sometimes, don't I? Again, I hope it's helpful. If you would like to work with me in a session with Reiki, I combine them all now. It's Reiki energy healing. That's just the hipster term for it. Not really hipster. It's been around for a very long time. It's just what the Japanese call energy work, energy healing. I also incorporate mediumship and psychic perceptions. Psychic meaning what's going on here in the moment, no future prediction type of stuff. My website is seewithash.com. You can book a session with me there. So love you all. Hope you have a wonderful Friday.